So, welcome to the Amazing Conspiracy Realist channel again. I'm not sure if anyone saw yesterday's episode in which I was having a very rough bout of depression, and I had nearly given up hope on everything. But today, I don't feel the same way because I just have a better outlook today, thankfully. And I don't even know what caused the depression, really. I explained it in the video. You know, I think what's so crazy about my depression, and it almost would seem like if you're looking at it from a purely clinical, psychological perspective, that I have bipolar. I mean, if you look at all the live wires from, the beginning of the year until now, it's like, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, it's never, and it's kind of imbalanced, right? And I'm always talking about balance, but there's, it's just because I know that I should strive to be a certain way, doesn't mean that I'm always going to be that way, or I'm always going to make it, hit that balance. So, the point is, I want to follow up on what I was saying yesterday, and, it's like, I think, I hope the audience understands that I was trying to be as sincere as possible and just be honest about what I was going through, and so that this can kind of be an observatory sort of presentation for you as someone that's, has the skills and has looked into, people's shadow work process and just like their avoidance and like their hang-ups and stuff. If you're really into that part of the research, then I am your perfect specimen, to look at. And I just want to be able to, provide people with my experience for their own educational purposes, not so that you can go, what poor Brian, all the shit that he goes through is so unfair, or maybe you're going the opposite, and like, well, fuck this guy, what is his problem, he should really, he should do this, that, and the other thing. You can have your criticisms, you can have your empathy, either way. But for you, the audience, I really want it to be an educational thing, because I think what I'm going through and the feelings that I feel are, I'm not alone in them, and I'm actually trying to give a voice to people that normally wouldn't speak up, or if they do speak up, it really doesn't, they don't have at least at least some background in what's actually taking place in the world to be able to accurately assess their situation. And I think to the layperson, to friends, family, Kent Materialist, we'll call that archetype. I think Kent Materialist, I just don't know, like I've even said to many of the people that I know who are not, tuned into the natural law perspective, I just say to them, like, listen, there's really, in a way I've kind of given up on them, in a way, like, not, because it's like I don't want to discuss it, so it just kind of leaves that bubble of curiosity, like, of some of the things that I did mention might start to come back if I just, if I stop trying to discuss it. I just don't want to discuss it with people right now, and because I don't really have, and that's what I really wanted to get onto, is it's not always their fault. It's not like, I even said to one guy, I was like, listen, man, like, I can explain to you a lot of stuff, right, but I don't have the skill set yet to have the conflict resolution skill set in order to be able to, like, have a conversation with somebody without getting upset about, just having conversations with materialist atheists. It is a very upsetting, traumatic thing when you're a spiritualist, because, like, it's also very, like, eerie at times, because you feel that they're so certain that they got you pinned down, and you're so certain that they don't, that it really is a mind fuck. Like, but they don't think of it in that terms. They're just like, oh yes, I'm just talking to a deeply religious person who just can't accept that, science is the only real answer, and that we're just little me and we don't really know. And, they're looking for this humble, passive, don't rock the boat thing, and they don't even realize it's just for me it's traumatizing me and fragmenting my own psychology to interact with people that are so traumatized and fragmented and don't realize that that's what's happening to help form their perspective, that it causes me to be traumatized, fragmented, and then I just mirror them, and there's no really ability to pick up on the fact that I'm a little bit more cued in. I mean, so I just think that the channel's kind of gone off the rails a little bit. I've been experimenting with blogging because I'm usually so upset, and I just want to see, I want to be able to have the chance to, instead of just, if someone can learn something from the things I go through, like I said, then, that would be my contribution to natural law for right now. That would be the thing that I'm able to do right now, because, I just need to face up to the fact that there is a lot of psychological issues going on with me, and, it's it happens, it's life, it's something that is kind of par for the course when you're living in this type of manipulated matrix that we are occupying, and so it's just that it all just happened so fast, and a lot of opportunities presented themselves in the year 2021, and it's just I've explained it. I've explained my whole story over and over again, and that's part of what we do when we're traumatized. Is we just and people that I know that have issues, alcohol problems, and things, that they do tell the same stories over and over again because they get that rush from telling the story. But everyone is addicted to something. It's I think that avoidance is an addiction. My mom even was saying something pretty interesting, is that she's I really noticed that nobody really has any interesting conversations anymore. And it's just one of those things that an older person points out, and because I think oh, I'm a spiritualist, I know why the conversations are so inane. It's because people are avoiding talking about the really difficult things, and so I have this deeper perspective on it. But even someone like my mom is able to pick up on the fact that it really seems the conversations these days are so boring, and it almost feels on purpose. And it is. That's what's so funny about it, and it's sad in a lot of ways, is that there's only the way people's minds are devolving is such that you can only tell if there's back in a couple decade or so ago, someone wouldn't have a problem saying hey, I'm liberal, and this is why, and this is how I feel as a liberal person, and and then someone else would say, well, I'm a conservative, and conservatism has always traditionally been about X, and we feel this way because of X, and it's and then liberals are the same way. But even back in the crazy 2016 days, it was there was some awareness, which wasn't great, and there was this awareness of their clique. Now it's just everyone's kind of wow, I really don't, because now we saw, how heated things and things get, and people stop talking to their families and friends, and then once they ramp down the divide and conquer thing and use another form of mind control, and people are well, what were we mad at each other about again? What was that about? So now it's there's and then the younger generation comes in and they're totally clueless, Gen Z, so they come in and they're I don't like any ideologies, and people get offended all the time, and everyone's racist. Like that's where like, it's like they just taking a little piece of like each distorted reality and just making another one, and it's just so yeah. There's not a lot of vernacular happening. I think that I noticed that this is what made me go insane like years ago, and it still drives me insane to this day. Is that like you can't even like you speak passionately about something. It's like almost like intelligence is becoming so foreign that like you have to dumb yourself down in order to talk to people, and this is like an idea that's promoted everywhere. Like dumb it down for people, man. Make it simple. Make it simple, stupid. Just dumb it down. Don't you want people to understand what you're talking about? Dumb it down. It's just like and then we can't even have that self-reflexivity to say like maybe we're just dumbing ourselves down by doing that. There's so many more dumb people than are intelligent people that like it's like idiocracy, like, and you like start it's very rare that I come to the words that are profound and really click and really match up with what I'm trying to say. It's sometimes I'm doing it when I'm talking to friends and like especially when I'm on psychedelics or something. Like it might seem like I'm rambling, but then like I'll be able to string a few lines together that are just coming purely from my connection to truth and nature, and they're spoken profoundly and deeply and stuff. And I could be saying something elegantly, beautifully, provide evidence, and I can do all that. And I think that it's like it's not judged based on that anymore. It's just judged on how quickly can you boil it down? Can you keep my attention span? And attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and the people's attention spans that are so short are like less and less aware of that. So yeah, we really are in a pickle. I mean, to say the least. I mean, it's hard to get. I mean, people don't even like do what I do. I think like coming home and communicating with yourself and kind of going back and forth and trying to work things out and trying to come into a place of balance. It's like. I don't go for distractions. Like, if I'm upset, I get home and I work it out with myself until it's solved. It's solved, at least for now, or like, to where I can work out whatever's bothering me. And speaking to God, speaking to higher self, just these different things. It's just speaking to the higher self just came so naturally to me that. And the idea that other people aren't doing it is traumatic now for me. Just the idea that they're really, really not, and that there's a bunch of people out there, I'm sure, in the world and in this town, especially just being that I am a local musician and starting to get my name out there. There's people out there and who are really just thinking what in the like. They're thinking hard about it. Like, what is he doing that he can't, like, just hang out with me right now, right here, and just talk about nothing? Because don't I want, like, it's almost like we're, like, a lot of people are really craving distraction so much that, like, it's just like, what are we doing now? Because, like, don't let me, it's like, because now it's like, like they're trying to stop people from even having this self-knowledge. So it's like they don't even want you to like ever be alone with your own thoughts or ever just, it's like there's so much less is happening, I think, as far as the people just like sitting in and just taking in a movie and not doing anything else but watching that till the beginning and the end, let alone read a book. I don't even think people are watching full movies and stuff. People are, I mean, these are just some things I've observed about some people out there, it's just, if you talk, again, it's like you tell a simple story about your life, and it's not, if it just takes you more than 30 seconds to explain it, then it's like, people look at you like, they don't even know what you're saying. There's just no patience anymore. And, my mother was even saying, like, you can't talk about anything deep. It's like, you try to, and, like, it's just met with some surface level idea that, I can't give examples. That's why I suck at this sometimes. And, maybe, that's why I was getting depressed yesterday, because I'm really not that good at this stuff. And I don't give examples of things I'm talking about or thinking about. And I wish I just could. And, the biggest thing is the skill. And so, as the day went on, because if anyone looks at the other podcasts, I was just really depressed, really down and out. And so, but as the day went on, like, I just realized a few things that, like, it's me. I need to learn the skills that are required to do this well. The only way I'm going to be able to do that is, well, by just applying myself, right? So, that's the only solution and way out of this. And so, really learn the trivia method. I need to just go back. You know what? I really should just go back, listen to the What I Was Happening podcast from the start, like, and just do that again. Because it's been years since I did that. I just need a refresher on it, and I need to just focus in again. I get so distracted, like, myself. And, I'm finally doing the real shadow work and just not, like, acting like, because for a while it's like I want to kind of get on a self-esteem kick, and I want to be like, I'm fucking awesome, I'm the shit, I rock, and, like, I want, and so that's how I get so confident with, playing shows and making music and continuing to, I put on shows. Like, I've been doing really well in the music scene this year. Like, that's, and so part of what breaks my heart a little bit is just the fact that I gaining notoriety in the local music scene. But again, like, then there's the whole natural law community. I feel like I kind of, abandoned you guys, and I didn't really feel like I ever really gave myself a chance to really rise and come into my own in that community at all. And I was starting to, and a lot of shit just went to my head in 2021. And I really just, the idea that I would never play music again, and never go to shows again, and do all those things again, I guess it just kind of, like, spurred something in me to just, like, really live it up while I still could. And it's almost based on that Thanatos apocalyptic instinct. It's like, if we're all gonna die, let's die partying. But now I'm kind of coming back into my own, and just remembering that, like, I came here to teach natural law. I came here to learn natural law, and I think I realized that, like, suicidal depression, I've actually had some psychics tell me that, like, if you kill yourself, you'll go back to 6th grade, because that's where your personality formed. And the thing is, you won't remember anything. You just think you woke up from a dream and you're back there. And, like, so, which made me think, like, God, like, and I remember thinking in 6th grade, like, what if life is just, like, something that you repeat over and over and over again at the same time, over and over and over again. Like, and I remember thinking, I was in 6th grade, and I was thinking one day, I was like, maybe I just keep repeating the same life over and over and over again. It never changes. I really thought that one day in 6th grade, and I'll never forget it. But, this is when I was trying to figure out what the world was all about, and, like, what, just questioning, forming my beliefs, just like they say, it happened psychologically. I was doing it. But I had that thought, like, what if it's the same day over? But then, years and years, we're talking, approaching 30s, I started to hear this from multiple psychics that, like, you kill yourself, you go back to 6th grade. And it's just really weird how that happened, but I had kind of an epiphany based on some psychic readings I received in the past, and what they meant. I had an epiphany about life, and I think that I think I've overcome the suicide programming. Because even if that thing about going back to 6th grade isn't true, this is one area where you can say belief comes in, because it's not even, it's just like, as long as you really do believe that, then that'll keep you alive. Like, you'll just say, like, damn, well, I wouldn't even want, I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't even want to risk it. You know, why risk it? You know, like, I've gotten to this point, and I went on the journey a lot of you guys went through. Like, in 2008 was my I really came into the idea of something beyond materialist atheism. That's when Naturalis, that's when I met Naturalis and didn't know what its name was, but I was aware of it, like consciousness studies, spirituality, you know, esoteric knowledge started to come into view in 2008 for me in a big way. And then it was on and off from there, and it was like going through life and, you know, getting out of high school. Like, when I graduated in 2008, and I had my epiphany in 2000, well, I graduated in 2009, and then the year before that was this thing. So here I am just like learning about the secret societies and, you know, the way they manipulate consciousness and the war on consciousness. A year before we're supposed to graduate high school, and like my brain is about to explode, and like, you know, and there was just so much going on between my band No Vice, which is the now deceased Justin Krakow, or, you know, there was just so much going on for me. You know, just being a young person that just came across this information, and it's like been a hell of a journey. And I think that 2009 and 2018 were the years that in my suicide programming, I think that I could have potentially have, you know, if this is how, because I know time isn't really, can be, you know, there's a lot that can be done with time. It's not totally linear. And so, like, with the whole thing with time travel is that, like, you know, if there are these multiple timelines, then it's like, I feel like in one timeline, I must have killed myself in 2009, gone back in 6th grade just to do the same thing, but then make it up to 2018, and then in 2018, went back to 6th grade. Probably a lot of times, I mean, because throughout that's 27 for me, so, you know, that was, you know, there was spirits, there was entities, there was just, it just felt like, you know, like my consciousness was being like, just put to the test, like in ways that I can't describe. And the people that know me from back then, just nothing happened to me that year, right? It was just any other year, but I mean, mentally, psychologically, and I think paranormally, it was very, very interesting, wild year where I learned so much about human consciousness and trauma, and in 2017 is when I really came to really understand natural law for real, like, without any doubt. Like, there was just so much doubt on the information. Like, eventually, like, the spirit of 2008 had kind of died off a little bit, and there was all this doubt coming in from people that just friends and family, because at a certain point I had a little kumbaya mentality, like, oh, the Great Awakening, my friends and family are going to be waking up soon, and we're going to be, no, like, I had to come to the realization that so many of the things that I had become attached to have not been healed. You know, they are being affected by and manipulated by and influenced by the dark occult mind control system. And, you know, it's like, so that was a lot to deal with, and I had, you know, been doing a lot of crazy shit, like acting weird, trying to push people away, trying to figure out who I wanted to be around, trying to figure out where I was going from there. You know, And, you know, I really wanted to get deep into the work back then, but I was doing the shadow work, and then, like, shadow work had to be done first, because there was so many things that I needed to clear out, and it's still going on. Like, you know, it's like I still keep fighting the uphill battle. I'm like, get out there and do the work, and I'm like, no, there's more shadow work that needs to be done, because I'm still fucking up in a lot of areas. I'm still being inconsistent, and, you know, bipolar, I think is the best way to, you know, it's like bisexual or bipolar. And I think I do sort of take back what I said, you know, about, oh, I don't want to be gay anymore, I want to be bisexual, I don't want to ever have sex with, you know, I don't want to ever identify as gay, and, like, gay, you know, and just the claim I was making was that, you know, being gay is really just, like, where you really like women, but they don't like you, or there was an initial rejection or a series of rejections that took place in some way, shape, or form, where you were so hurt by that rejection that, like, you ended up embodying the type of woman that you like rather than attracting the type of woman that you like. So I had a theory, I had a thought that maybe that's true for a lot of gay and homosexual people that are, you know, out there. And I could kind of see it in their eyes a little bit when I talk to them, or when I mention things like about how I'm bisexual, or maybe they're just sad because they like me and they wish I didn't like girls. So I don't really know, but I suspected some kind of masking and some type of need to cover up their, you know, because I understand, like, there's the whole thing of, like, oh, you know, you don't want to, like, be all, like, oh, evangelical on gay people and be like, oh, like, don't, you know, you need to mask your attraction to the same sex. Like, I'm not saying that they don't have any attraction to the same sex. I'm saying that, you know, that it's possible that maybe they do, like, a gay, maybe a flamboyantly gay guy does have attraction to the opposite sex. And maybe, like, you know, at a certain point, the personality developed in which, like I said, like, it's like they didn't really feel, like they felt hurt by the rejection, or maybe, you know, like a disappointing factor about female behavior at a certain point, and, like, instead of dealing with it, or, like, okay, they didn't want to be seen as misogynist, but there might be something about women that they just found disappointing. And so maybe the hurt, from whatever caused them to be hurt, like, it caused them, the trauma just made them want to be more like the woman. Like I said before, like, you know, it's like, maybe there's that. Did anyone ever bring that up as a possibility? Like, you know, I don't think anyone really can, and I think the only people that can are people that are, like, having a conversation like Michael Tessarian is having, and David Whitehead and Catherine Waters, about identity and psychology and sexuality. And there's so few people that are actually doing it accurately, but, and, you know, so I'm trying to bring that to the fore. Like, you know, does gay, you know, there's going to be people out there that are homosexual maybe by birth, and that's just how they are, or, you know, is there an attraction to women at some level, even by people that are claiming to be full-on gay and not bi? Am I just projecting what I feel onto everyone else who isn't bi? Like, oh, you're straight, bullshit, you're probably sort of gay. Oh, you're gay? Oh, bullshit, you're probably sort of straight. You know, like, it could be just a bi thing that I'm doing. I don't really know, but the irony of yesterday's outburst and upset feelings that I had, especially with regards to the ladies and my love life, is that there are times nowadays in my 30s where I'm kind of just like replaying the program in my mind, you know? And it's really sad that I still do that because I know that that'll just result in the same thing. Like, if reality speaking, manifestation speaking, but like, you know, my brain is just so addicted to going back to that program of just like, you know, nobody loves me, like all girls are a big disappointment, and like they don't give a shit about how I feel, and they just, you know, they look at me like I'm a jerk because I'm short, and like just all these different things that like, yeah, are partially true, you know, for some women out there, but like overall it's doom and gloom and it's negativity. But is it and sometimes I think that just being negative is being truthful, but in reality it you know, it's like it's not, it's kind of truth tainted with overly negative thinking. So the irony of it is that I kept forgetting it. What happens is I focus so hard on the women that are disappointing me and stuff, and then I don't remember. And then part of it has to do with like alcohol and drinking and forgetting. It's like the thing that I hate the most is like, you know, people getting too drunk and not noticing things, and I do the same thing. And so it's like, if I really looked around and noticed, you know, were there women that I could have approached, like after I got off stage and played at a festival, like, I was just kind of too dumb to like, and you know, there was always this factor that made me, you know, even if a woman smiled and walked over to me or had, you know what it really was is I've been stressed out about, like, it's like when I'm stressed out about one thing, it's like, you know, I can't really focus on anything else. And so that's where I was bummed out. It's like, you know, I ran into another financial issue right before this festival, and I was really looking, and I had planned it out. And I don't want to get too into the nitty-gritty of it, it's not a big deal, but something came up where, you know, I thought I would be going into this festival with a lot more dough than I ended up having. And it was just because of a glitch in something I did with a payment of a bill. Really boring, don't want to go into it, but it's just, I didn't have as much cash going into this festival as I thought. And I had a lot of anxiety about money and just getting by and surviving while I was supposed to be having the time of my life. And I made the best of it, but I was just bummed, and I was just kind of on a downer because of just the fact that it was, you know, I was supposed to, you know, I was supposed to have some freedom from financial stress. You know, I wanted that for myself this weekend. I didn't get it, but you know what? I carried on with the work that we're doing in Death Clip Pharmaceutical. Because we're coming out with an album called Insane World, and the lyrics in Insane World are so poignant and so much about, you know, how I feel about the ignorance of our society and mind control, that I think that that's really going to pack a punch this time, and this time we don't. You know, I think that I'm just going to show whoever I need to show, like, this is where I stand. You know, you can stand over there, I'm going to be over here. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I could teach you through my actions, and you can observe my actions, but, like, you know, I don't have shit to explain to you. You know, the minute you start defending yourself and explaining yourself, you're done socially nowadays. You know, the minute you need to explain anything, you're done. So don't even bother explaining shit to nobody. Just say, like, hey, this is what I think's going on. I really am not a subjectivist. I think truth is objective. I feel that you need to align your perceptions with the objective truth, and I feel that I've done that. And that's what I understand. I don't even use the word belief. I just try to say to people, I've come to understand certain things in my life, just through certain research I've done, and I have my perspective, and I feel like I have an accurate understanding of the situation, and that's really it. And then I just said, yeah, I'm not a big fan of belief. See, belief is just something that gets in the way of the truth. So I'll try to just keep myself from just getting ensconced and letting people confuse the shit, because they will, because they don't know like what you're talking about, and they can't. They think they know, so they're just they're trying to have a conversation with you about what they think you're all about, and they don't even have a clue. And they won't listen to any explanation you have for something that they don't understand about you. So, yeah. Anyway, the irony was that, like, there's plenty of women that were giving me attention, and like, just, I have the opportunity to meet them, and they were interested, they were buying my merch, and they were asking friends questions, because I was busy, I was running around like a maniac, and, I was getting all depressed and thinking about, like, I don't get laid nearly enough by women, and like, I'm just so sick of just, being on the guy side of the spectrum with the bi thing. I want ladies to come into it. And then, it's like some really cool chick on Tinder who's actually real, who's from a town that I know exists right here, and seen her around, she's just like, yo, man, you got wicked fat. She's Fat Mike, the lead singer of NoFX. He's just a punk rock guy, famous guy. And she said, hey man, and he's a funny guy, kind of just a fun guy. A girl might consider him kind of a fun guy. Anyway, she said, wicked fat Mike vibes, and I love it. And so and I would complain, like in podcasts, no girl ever shows me that kind of side. No one reaches out to me first and gives me a compliment. Yeah, that never happens. Well, you know what? I'm so focused on the fact that it doesn't happen nearly as much as I want, that when it does happen, I totally forget that it even freaking happened. And I don't follow through. Because the next part of my psychosis is, oh, she likes me, she wants to go out, alright, so we'll start dating. Oh, but, she wants to hang out on a day where I don't feel like doing anything. It's like we gotta meet the parents and the family, or she tells me, oh, this one's in the military, and this one, said something really, you start meeting more people that she knows, and part of the problem too is that, like, I think that it sounds really bad, but I'm just trying to be honest. Like, I'd put up with some more shit if, like, I think in the past couple of years I was willing to settle for dates or people that I just I wouldn't want to be intimate with these people. And I tried to date them and be that, compassionate, like, body positive person, and just say everything's beautiful and beauty is subjective and whatever. But I just don't like when my soul feels like it's being drained, and then all the vigor and energy and love and juiciness that I have is like being sapped out of me for some altruistic ideal that is just based in total sacrifice of your true spirit, which is, what this is, the materialist atheism thing, the collectivism thing, the altruistic thing. It's like it's just a cocktail of shit that nobody even understands that they're in, or they think it's the way, and they think it's just their special little way of understanding the world. They mistake it for they mistake the false light for the true light, and the knowledge that they have about science and materialism and all this matter is like. And then, they say, oh, people are not as religious as they used to be anymore, and religion's going out the window, and like they can't even they're so closed-minded and left-brained that they don't even have the creativity. They're like, thinking their own thing is a fucking, like, unorganized religion, but still a religion. Like, and that's not the same as spirituality. It's just an unofficial religion, right? but still, like, I don't think they cling to. Like, there was one Kent Materialist, we'll just use the name, Kent Materialist. One of the Kent Materialists said to me, like, you will never convince me of anything outside of, you know, the evolutionary paradigm and the materialist paradigm, because I have a rock solid, like, my perspective on it is rock solid, and, like, I'm just, like, and like, I'm just freaking out, like, cause and I'm freaking out because I'm just, like, hearing this, like, in shock, like, rock solid, like, he's, like, even using terminology, like, I'm rocks, like, he's admitting I'm so rigid because of this mind control program that you'll never get me to change my mind. Like, and I'm proud of it. Like, I'm so rock solid and rigid that you'll never get me convinced because I've been sold a liar that there was another way to look at things, or that there's, you know, missing pieces of the puzzle that might look like it's complete, but it's really not. Yeah, there's nothing more I need to know, and I'm rock solid sure of that. I bet you are, motherfucker. I ask you one question, Materialist, Kent Materialist. Who or what is animating your corpse? And who's the you that says I? I don't want to give up on the channel. I don't want to give up on the great work. I don't want to give up on any of you guys out there. Logan Hart, Mario West, Mark Pastio, Catherine Waters, everybody on the One Great Work Network. I really kind of fucked up, you know, in our world, in our perspective, you know, it's like I had the opportunity to. I really didn't want, like, once I found the One Great Work Network and I started to make my own podcast, I remember just being on mushrooms at my apartment. My roommate was at work. There was no one home. And I was just so happy that I was just like, wow. Like, I was just so determined to just be a great content creator and really connect with all you guys and finally heal my trauma. But I was just deathly afraid of, like, having friends. I was like, I'm just afraid that I'm gonna make friends with people and they're gonna ruin everything and they're gonna just make it so I don't do any of that stuff. But then there was still a hole in my soul that said that I wanted to connect with people that were around me, and, you know, and just stop, because there was just this lifelong feeling of anything. If I took a class, if I did anything, like, I just felt like I'm never even seen. Like, I just feel like I'm just like that loner guy who just sits by himself. Like, I was like, I'm just way too cool for that. Like, why? Like, the people that do know me, like, that are close to me, like, you know, for a while I wasn't Mr. Popularity or the cool guy. I really felt like I deserved to be. I just felt like I never was recognized for much of anything, you know, either at the same time. And you guys were recognizing me a little bit for what I started to do. And then just that feeling of recognition that I never got, I just took it to the streets. And I started to get recognition for things that I've been trying really hard my whole life to get some notoriety recognition for. And I know that, like, a pat on the back recognition is not something that you want to make your, like, end all, but it really was something I was lacking that I received, and I felt like it was a gift. It was a gift from the universe, or from something, to just say to continue, and that I'm on the right track, and I should be proud of myself for being able to, you know, get past the time travel thing we were talking about before, you know, like the cycle of going back. And, you know, there are certain suicide programmers in my life came into my life briefly who tried to get me to kill myself so that I would go back in time and not learn natural law and not learn about what's really taking place in our world and not learn about the occult and I'm just so now I just feel so blessed that this time around I figured it out and I didn't let it that whole riddle like make me just be running in a hamster wheel for eternity. Like, I mean, geez, man, like this is freaking great. And I think that I feel like gifted now. I feel like there's, I feel like I've learned to go beyond the program of the suicide thing. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing, and I still have those suicidal feelings, but then I just remember it's not worth it. And I know it, and I really do know it, and I know that I'll just feel better later anyway. It's like, and then I remember, maybe that feeling and that, urge to be like, I just want to give it up. It's just when you're doing stuff that you don't feel like doing. And so you just do those things. And instead of dying, you just do those things that are really annoying and aren't that fun or whatever. But, then you're walking home, and let's say you're walking home, and you're walking on a 10-mile trek home, I mean, you're going to give up at the last mile because it hurts so bad, or are you going to just take that extra mile and make it home? So, the crazy thing is, there were smiles from beautiful women. Yesterday there was compliments, there was, instead of what used to happen is like, well, I never, I don't know, there's like, there's this beautiful girl who works at the coffee shop near my house, and man, she was checking out our set, and I just thought, because I was just saying, I think, on a couple of podcasts, I play all these great songs, and play a great song that I wrote in front of a bunch of beautiful girls, and they all walk away, and leave, and never come back. That has happened quite a bit, but, this time around, there was a really seemingly awesome person who was checking out my set and, like, really impressed, and, like, had spoken to someone that I knew after, like, I've met these guys before, like, these guys are cool, and it's a dream come true. This is what my dream was when I was in 6th grade, 7th, 8th grade. This is it. I'm living it. The thing that I wanted to do then, that I was so pissed off that I was stuck at school and couldn't do, I'm fucking doing it. And so, but at the same time, I was, like getting back to the other story, was like, I really didn't, when I started doing the channel and connecting with you guys a little bit, I was really like, fuck, man, I don't want anybody to come in and ruin this. I'm the only one that can ruin it. And yeah, I kind of, it went to my head that I was finally on the right track, and now I'm kind of in like a gray zone where I haven't really been able to figure out how to stay connected with all you guys, like, and put consistent work out there that isn't just like the rambles and craziness, and find the time to learn what I need to learn. Like, it's like, and then there's this whole other, musical dream where I am lyrically and in every way that I possibly can, trying to get the message in there. But I don't really feel connected with the community as much anymore, and I just feel like, and that's not your fault, that's my fault. Like, and I feel like I'm getting involved in, even though the music is lyrically, inspired by the great work. I just think that you guys can clearly see, and I can see it, my higher self can see it too, is that it's bringing in ignorant, it's not really, I'm not going to give up either, it's like music's music, and the more people, if it affects people in a positive way, that's a beautiful thing, and it's just that, I just think that, like, it brings me into situations where I'm kind of just more of a rocker, party mode guy than a researcher and a natural law teacher. And I'm kind of just hanging out with people that are in bands, doing band stuff, and, it very much feels just like, entertainment, fun, stuff that isn't recreational stuff that isn't really related to the great work. And so it is kind of creating an abscess. And it is kind of creating like, this enhanced social life I have is kind of, I had been such a loner and such like a individualist, and like even when I started to have a social sphere expanded upon me, I felt like so much pressure, and I wanted to push certain things away, and things weren't happening for me in love, and I was still just like not satisfied anyway, and realizing like the value in hermeticism and stuff, and so I'm kind of just torn. It's like, I was given the gift of notoriety and popularity and support for certain things I'm doing. But, when it came to the great work and podcasting and, doing tarot card readings and connecting with all you guys and, staying cued into what was going on in the world and the cultural manipulation and the war on consciousness and just keeping one ear to that, like I haven't been doing that as much. Like I don't really, I heard that Trump and Hillary are running again, and like, not that politics is, but this is one thing. It's just like I just heard that the other day from somebody that I work with, not from anybody, And so I think this is just like my honeymoon. This is like my vacation. I'm trying to take a vacation, not from the great work, just from just the more grueling aspects of reality that just kept me so depressed and so unwilling to put myself out there and like celebrate my own talents and gifts in life. Of course, some of my other talents involve like sex work almost, and I'm just not sure how I feel about all that. Like sometimes I want to embrace it, and like I just think that if it's just like, it's just tough. It's like, that's a whole nother can of worms, but like, deep down it's like, hang out with a bunch of gay guys and they talk about what guys they think are hot, celebrity-wise, and like they're just getting so much joy out of it, and I'm still pointing out women that I think are hot and have a great style and are really cool, and like it's just like, yeah man, like, you look so hot, you almost look like a girl, and it's like, I'm just trying to picture you as a girl, man, because I like girls a lot. It's like, I really do like girls a lot more than guys sexually and romantically, and all the frustration is, some of it is, part of the frustration is just based on my own just like desire and lust and just like, maybe negative things from talking spirituality. You think, oh, you want my energy because my energy is things like that. I mean, I think my energy is like, I think it's just like our energy kind of matches sometimes. Like, I don't know, like like, I don't just feel like girls are out of my league. Like, yeah, I go up to a girl that's a 10, I don't feel like, oh my god, like, she's out of my league, I'm such a jerk, and like, I'm so gross that she, like, I used to do that when I was younger, like when I was in middle school, like, I'm gross, she's really pretty, and I'm gross. I don't do that anymore. I'm just like, hey honey, like, we're on the same page here, we're on the same, you know, we're at the same level here, we're both gorgeous people, like, let's just have sex and see where it goes from there. Guys are they're like down to do it, but like, I can't be as excited with, like, and then like, there are guys even now are hitting me up to hang out, and like, I just feel bad. Like, I know that I'm hurting someone too by just being like, blowing them off, at least. Well, not blowing them off, but blowing him off in the sense of not like getting back to him and stuff. Like, and I kind of fall in love with the guys more. I'm like, oh, poor baby, I've been getting back to him. He's such a nice person. Like, but then like, I'm just like, oh, you know. So I'm way more excited when girls are into the stuff that I'm doing. When I hear from girls in a positive way and in a romantic way, and like, it's just so much more magical for me personally and exciting, and it's just like, I want it so bad, it's like I can hardly ever have it because I'm always just traumatized about wanting it and never getting it, and then, oh my god, I'm that guy that's really obsessive that nobody likes, and then like, and it's just all born out of just like the desire, you know, to just connect with the ladies and like stuff, and it's really fun. I see, you know, it's like I try to have fun, and I think that what happens is like when I'm in a bad mood about something else, and I can't be like the fun guy around the girls, I get all bummed, and I'm like, you know, because. You know, there's just a time. There's a time for everything. There's a time to just like, you know, not be obsessed with like what kind of migrant girl somebody's under, and just be like, okay, like let me just experience what it's like to date a girl, and just go on a date with someone and see what they're like, and just have that rite of passage experience. So with all the complaining I've done, it's like, you know, it's like the women, they have been present. It's just I haven't always been present for them, emotionally and stuff. And that's and so it's just something I need to reflect on. Maybe, you know, I do some reflective work, shadow work. I actually take the action and do that, then I'll meet other people that are doing the shadow work, and they're deeper people and less surface-based people, if I am not that way as well. And so after yesterday's session, I really reflected deeper on natural law, and I remembered that universe. And at first I got mad at the universe like a dark occultist. Oh, damn universe, you don't recognize my emotions, you don't recognize the thoughts that I think in my head. You don't think that that's good enough to just let me have that. Like, if I think it, I can just have it. Like, there's the ego again. It doesn't want to take any action ever. It's like, alright, I think it, I feel it, let's get it. You know, and it's just like, no, like. And I think that my whole thing was, oh, you know, being gay, you're just trying to be like the girl you can't have. It's just like, no, like, just, I should be like the girl that I want to have, because I want to be a person that's taking actions in where, like, those actions are going to create a result where the universe goes, okay, this person is taking this right action. You know, they're not acting like a girl, but they're embodying the traits of the kind of people, guy, girl, friends, mates, whatever. They're embodying the traits of the kind of people they want to attract, whether or not, whoever they be. You know, and it's like, I'm so getting wrapped up on sex that I'm forgetting that, like, attraction and manifestation is, like, something that goes beyond just, like, sex stuff. It's, like, attraction, manifestation, it's events, it's experiences, it's people, it's places, it's, like, so, you know, and it's just, like, I gotta be willing to change or accept the fact that I'm just not going to change certain things, and that I'm going to still bear the brunt of the consequences of not changing the thing until that changes, and then it's like, yeah, I mean, so, feel better now that I've worked it out, and I don't think that every single gay guy is just a guy that's repressing his life for women or whatever. I think that that's possible, and I think that there's also a lot of guys. See, this is what I always have to remember too, is that, oh, girls don't like me because I'm short. Well, I bet you there's a girl or guy out there who can say, hey man, I'm just as short as you, and I've been doing just fine. And then I get all jealous and say, oh, well then it's probably because you're mind controlled and that you're all on the same wavelength in your stupidity. And then I say, well, you know, then oh, they don't like me because I'm bisexual, because the women, they don't like an effeminate man. They're just so against that if you paint your nails black, they'll think you're a pansy for life. And then you show me a guy with painted nails, and he's doing just fine. As far as getting laid and having the kind of relationships with women I'd like to have. And then I say, oh, I'm an Italian guy in upstate New York. They're all a bunch of rednecks. The only girls want is the country boy redneck. And then you show me another Italian guy in upstate New York, and he's doing just fine. And he's not having the issues and hang-ups I have. So I think that it's safe to say that if I take the kind of actions, if I focus on the kind of person that I want to attract in my life, and I embody those traits and take the actions of that type of person would do and take, then maybe, just maybe, I can attract the kind of person I really want. And you know what? It's not been the same. I've been saying this, you know, for a long time, and I gotta cut it out because it's not true. You know, no, I say to people when I'm down about women and girls and love and stuff, I go, oh, you know, no matter what happens in my life, no matter what changes occur or things go different, it's always the same story with women. Heartbreak. Meanwhile, I could be thinking that, brooding over that, and some girl could smile at me and I'll smile back, and then I'll just be thinking it again, and brooding over it again, and then, you know, more thoughts come up, and then all of a sudden, it's not until like a day or two later they go, oh, remember that cute girl from the supermarket who smiled at me? I wonder what she's doing. Trauma. You know, what are you going to do? That's what trauma does. I also never played the numbers game like I said I was going to do a million times. Oh, yeah, I just got to ask. If I just ask out 100 girls, hey, one of them's going to say yes, and I have to do it in person. You can't just message 100 girls online. Oh, yeah, come on. I never did that. I never actually went and did that. I always give myself a reason. Oh, I don't have enough money. I gotta go drive to the mall, or I gotta go drive to the beach, or I gotta go drive somewhere, and I don't have gas money, and I don't. What if I meet somebody and she wants to go out to a nice restaurant, and I gave myself all these reasons, and oh, what if she's a jerk, and what I always end up doing is saying oh, no matter how hot she is, she's still gonna be mind controlled, and she's still gonna ask you about what your beliefs are, and then she's going to say something stupid that you're going to emotionally react to and correct her on, so what's the hell's the point? I just talk myself out of it. And I wonder if that's because, I'm trying to talk myself out of a desire and a lust that just isn't required or necessary for my current position and need to do the work here. How much of my time, it's like, when I spent the time remember the presentation, going back to the presentations I used to do really well about things that are not about my own personal life. It's getting pretty satanic. If you think in terms of how much of this podcast has been about all me, and stuff. And not what it used to be, where, I was talking more about, the true meaning of anarchy, and how COVID had negatively affected people that had gotten the vaccine, or had just been negatively destroying people's rights, and just caring about the suffering of the people, of the children who are being sex trafficked, and the MK Ultra experiments, and it's the Aaron McCulloughs of the world who are just, and the Justin Krakau's of the world who are just targeted individuals and using time travel experiments and just fucked with, and just thinking about the history that we lost, thinking about how much we need to unpack to get things back to the right perspective as far as what really happened, and what the real meaning of consciousness is, and what the real perspective of the world should be as it once was in the great time before, call it Tartaria, call it the ancient global civilization from, or ancient Arya, or ancient Hyperborea, the garden paradise. These things are so much greater than my life and my ego, and this should have been the thing that gives me the motivation. I know it's the thing that gives you guys the motivation to keep on going and keep on keeping on. And you could just put the things that are not happening for you in your own personal life in a sack for now, and just park that and just come back to it at a later date because it's not that important. And the more you do the work on the behalf of the truth and stay connected to the energy of this beautiful planet and all the things that she has to teach, if I could just stay connected to that and not get so lost in the toxicity and the bullshit matrix, and then I do have a chance, and I don't have to give up, and I can just, get on with it. And you guys might see me as a joke now, but once I actually start getting going, and for real, it's I've been trying to get going for years, man. But it's just, I'm a young guy, and I've got a lot of shadow work to do, and there's blockages, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of hurdles in the way. But I'm not giving up. No way. I have the vigor, and I'm ready to fight again. And I know that, and I have my psychic, my premonitory thinking is starting to come online again, and I just feel like, we're about to stir the pot, and it's going to be a lot more emotional, a lot more difficult this time, because, like I said earlier, people don't want to have real conversations about what's really going on in the world, but I think that, all that repression is going to explode, and we've built relationships with people that are very different from us in perspective, and we're going to hope and pray that we can all come together and not let the division win this time. But I know when I'm willing to cash in my chips, because I've seen it to where people are almost so far gone into mind control that they're not accessible for any type of a relationship, unfortunately. And I know that when my safety is bad enough that other people's safety and psychological slavery is at stake, but it's like there's a certain point where you can only go take it so far with me before like Pisces have it. They have the ability to really and then people that are very ignorant about how Pisces are just they underestimate the shit out of us. They think like, this guy, he doesn't. I can manipulate him. I can take advantage of him. He's too stupid to know any better. And then they're just the rude awakening they have when they realize that you're not as dumb as they thought you are is just. It's astounding that they're in awe, they're lost, and you could stun them. I've literally stunned people in trauma. Not just, in a form of self-defense. It's just like, yeah, you didn't think that I could see through your bullshit. You had no idea. You really thought I was that dumb. People have no idea how quickly I can pull the rug out from under them. If I feel like I'm being violated or taken advantage of. So, I know when I'm cashing in my chips, I can only, I think, it's like I'm going to let people that are mind controlled around me, I'll give them, and this is generous gift in enough of itself. 10 years. 10 years. If the shit really hits the fan, when I'm 40, like I think it will, I know when, at a certain point, there's not going to be time left to dilly-dally, and we're going to have to unite. You guys were pretty united, but like, it's going to get real. I have a feeling it's going to get real important that we stick together. Unless, I of course have already maybe taken the wrong path and I'm just doomed. But there I go again with the doom and gloom. You see how it cycles? It all cycles. Anyway, I'm not giving up on you guys. And I hope you don't give up on me because I'm not giving up. I'm not done with the great work, and I'm not done trying to set my trajectory right and trying to set our trajectory right. And I'm not done learning, and I'm not done growing, and I'm not done giving, and I'm not done serving the truth. Because I went from being Kent Materialist to Naturalis, and there ain't no going back, baby.